Stay cautious.
What's up, Piper Drivers, and welcome to the Cantina Chat. Hope everybody's having a great week. We have an awesome show planned for you guys tonight. Before we get started, let's say what's up to my co-hosts. We got my man Frankie in the house. What's going on, Frankie? How you doing, buddy?
So I'm doing real good.
Yeah. That's good, man. We all need a good time today, bro. I think it's been kind of a wild week and a half of Star Wars negativity out there, and I want to have a positive show today. So
nothing awesome. Like it, just to bring it back to the 70s.
Yes, absolutely. All right, and as always, you got my man Evan in the house. What's going on, Evan?
What's up? What's going on, guys? I'm fanboying here, wearing my hyperdrive gear.
I'm loving that shirt, man. That's
looks
awesome,
badass. Man. I like it.
Yeah, it's part of the fourth wall on the Medina Lorion website. Okay, tongue tied saying that thing, man.
I feel you, man.
Medina Lorion.
All right. Ralph couldn't join us tonight because it's his wife's birthday, so he's going to be with us in spirit. So we'll just say happy birthday to his wife and
happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Before we get started with saying what's up to everybody that's in the chat, next week, I don't know yet if I'm going to have a live stream. I'm actually going to be flying out of town for work, so I'll be in Texas next week. I'm going to try to bring some of my equipment with me, and I'll figure it out at least by Tuesday if I can make it work in the hotel. Then we'll have a live stream. Otherwise, we'll probably have to wait until I come back the following week, which I think will be in July by that point. So, and tomorrow's the Spice Runners Lounge. What you guys got going on the Spice Runners for tomorrow?
We are talking about the Acolyte, Star Wars news, and whatever else is going on.
Okay.
Still deep diving it. I know a lot of people have given up on the Acolyte, but we haven't. We're still going to keep watching it until it finishes.
Nice. All right. Maybe I'll join you guys tomorrow. I don't know yet.
Hell yeah, dude.
Last week was a long night, bro.
That's every Friday, dude. But it feels like an hour.
Man, I was like 12:30 when we got off.
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
It was a good time, dude. Good debate.
Yeah, it was. Should have chopped some of that up into some shorts. That was some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, haven't had a chance to, but I should, man. I'll do that this weekend.
All right. Let's say what's up to everybody in the chat before we bring our special guests on. So first up, we got Diana, the daughter of Dothmere. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Diana.
Happy birthday to you.
There you go. Special one just for you. All right.
Nice.
All right. Got Pats fan in the house. What's up, Ken?
What's up, Ken? How you doing, man?
Ken, buddy.
And Frankie's pulling double duty. We got
Frankie.
Darth Sauron, Jedi Shizzles in the house.
What up, dude?
It's always going to be Shizzle.
Do back deliveries. What's up, Jason?
What's up, Jason?
We got Brandon H in the house. What's going on, man?
Brandon.
We got Ancraft. What's going on, Ancraft? Sergio, what's going on, dude?
Dapper Panda.
You got Dwayne Otley in the house. What's up, man?
Dwayne.
The Donut Lord is in the house.
That's
if you're gonna be Lord over something, if you're gonna be Lord of something, be it on donuts.
Yeah, dude.
Sean, scruffy looking stone, is in the house. What's up, dude?
Triple S. What's up, dude?
All right, G-Force is in the house. What's going on?
G-Force.
Check that shit out. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. Scott Berry, what's up, man? How you doing?
Scotty Keys. What's up, Scott?
And we got the Saber Smith. What's going on?
Nice, dude. Saber Smith.
We got Flex in the house. What's up, dude?
Flex.
Elijah. Flex. What's up, dude?
We got a giveaway or something?
No, not tonight. Not tonight.
He smells it. He smells it.
Yeah. One too young. What's going on? And I think we're all caught up for right now. I know I started a little early tonight. You know how it is. You always get started when everybody shows up. All right. So I'm going to bring on our special guest. This man is a legend in animation. He has animated for the likes of He-Man. You know, we all like Masters of the Universe as a kid in the 80s. He video games like Dragon's Lair, Space Ace,
X-Men
X-Men
Evolution.
Evolution. Can't miss that. And of course, the one and only Boba Fett. He brought us our first look at Boba Fett. It's none other than John Celestri. So let's give him a big warm welcome.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Good evening, gents. Good evening.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
Yep. So,
first, I mean, I just want to say thank you for all of the work you've done over the years. I mean, you've inspired. I know you've inspired me a lot. A lot of those cartoons growing up, you know, it is what got me into wanting to draw and all that, and you know, bringing Boba Fett to life for all of us is. It's got to be a crazy experience for you, you know.
Oh yeah, it was but then again, it was at that point, it was the thing of you know, Star Wars had just come out, and we were all cool, and we were wondering who was going to be the new villain, because you know we were excited that there was going to be another show, another movie, because it was called Star Wars, not Episode 4.
Right.
Yes.
It was Star Wars.
Right. True. Good point. Well, I'm gonna kick it off with taking it from the beginning. When did you know that you wanted to be an animator? When did you want to start, or what got you into drawing?
Oh well, it's in my family. Drawing is a family thing. On my mom's side, she was, you know, her family had a lot of artists in it. She's from Italy. She was from Italy, Sicily, Italy, and so there was a lot of art going on for her. Either they were into they were engineers, or they were artists. So they're very, very much that way. Hello, Sergio. And then my dad. He was a draftsman. He worked on plans. He worked on the Nautilus,
nice.
the nuclear submarine. So he had a very, very good hand-and-eye coordination. And his father was a barber in mining town in Ohio, around 1900. So if you have and he was from Sicily. So if you had to shave somebody with a straight edge, you better have a good, steady hand, because too many nicks and that's it. You know, mining town, get it.
That's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, so there was a lot of hand-and-eye coordination that I had. So I always liked being a cartoonist, but the first time I actually, got the bug, we had a relative from Bel Air, Ohio, come by to visit us, and I might have been like 4 years old at the time. So it was 1954. So he 1953. So he came in. I was about 4 years old, and he drew me Mickey Mouse for me. So right there and then, that's when the first thing, boom, that was it. Like that just fascinated me. So so from that point on, I started sketching, and being a kid who was a bit more on a shy type. I mean, drawing was my way of escaping being bullied. So I poured all my energies into drawing and creating my own little worlds. So that's how I got that, And even when seeing the first little bit of animation I did, is I might have been like 6, 7 years old. I saw the Disney thing, the Disney film. Oh no, it was the flipping book. That would be the Walter Lantz, the Woody Woodpecker show.
Okay,
I
remember that.
and they would show how to do animation.
I remember those.
Flip book, okay. And so and then I also saw it on Disney. Because Disney, the Wonderful World of Disney, that comes out in ABC back in about 1954, and that's with Davy Crockett and the whole crazy thing. So I'm in kindergarten at the time. So, and I see, the things about Lady and the Tramp and all that kind of material of what kind of animated films they were doing. So I did a little flip book of a dog walking. Okay. So that was the first. But again, I had my mother send it to Disney.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So that was my first bug. But I would always been drawing and working that way. Following and doing comic books and things of that nature. And I wanted to originally be a sports cartoonist for one of the New York papers. Now, back then, sports cartooning was a thing. I don't know if you ever seen Willard Mullen.
No.
If you go, okay, he is sort of the Al Hirschfeld of sports cartoonists, the dean of sports cartoonists. You look him up and you can see he is like the top, the absolute top. And all of his drawings had this energy, this animation energy into it. And so I wanted to be a sports cartoonist. That, again, back then we had like maybe 8 daily newspapers in New York City, way before everything started going down. So, but I also wanted to be a comic strip artist. I wanted to have my own comic strip.
Right.
Maybe also own my own comic books, things of that sort. But it wasn't until I was about 23 years old, 1972. I was at there was the 50-year retrospect for Disney at Lincoln Center, and I'm living in New York, and I go and see for kicks with a friend. We go see Peter Pan, at Alice Tully Hall. And that was when I can give the exact date because I still have the program from that.
Wow.
When it was screened, and when it was screened, and when I watched it, the day I watched it, what period of time that would have been. It was when I'm watching it. It was 8:30 screening. I'm watching it, and it was a packed audience. And when Peter Pan and Wendy and everybody are flying over to London, going to Neverland, that's when I said, that's what I want to do. So in a nutshell, that's my story when I first started. And that's when I started to learn, because I'm self-taught.
Yeah,
I didn't go to school for that. There was no real school of that. I had some classes at the School of Visual Arts for the summertime. It was one night a week for 6 weeks, and I learned from all the basics of the technical aspects of what storyboard was, what an exposure sheet was, how to do layouts, how to shoot a camera, and then do animation from Gil Moret. He's no longer with us. He was a storyboard layout designer for the Terry Toons and for Fleischer, the Paramount Films back in the day. So this is 1973 now, when this is all happening, or 72. I can't read. Yeah, sometime around that time. So anyway, and so it's self-taught. So and I would do that and learn until I got a chance to go on to Tubby the Tuba, because people took pity on me, and I kept schlepping my portfolio with my reel of animation that I would do, and they'd say, "Oh, well, look, New York Tech is doing Tubby the Tuba, and they've got all these old Popeye and Mighty Mouse animators, but they need young people to come and train there." And so that's how I did it. So, it went from I hope I'm not boring you with
No,
this.
you're
No,
not.
no.
Nope.
I'm tracking your timeline. So we're in 1975 at this point.
Yeah,
I
this
was
is
3 years old.
1975. Okay, and in March of 1975, I remember because it was a big day for me. I go and take my reel. It's a 4.5 hour round trip from Brooklyn, my house, to Long Island, out all the West Coast, because I had
Wow.
to go down from. I was living, in Bensonhurst Bay Ridge, which is very close to Coney Island. So take the train, go to Penn Station, switch over to Long Island Railroad, and then go back all the way over, into Old Westbury, Long Island, and then there's a school bus that would pick you up, and you'd go and take it to New York Tech. Is it?
Wow. It's like the last leg, huh?
Yeah, that was the last. Yeah, that was there, and then so I showed my reel. They said, "Okay, can you start?" And that's it. That's how I got my job. So for 14 months, I did that every day as a regular job. And it was I'd leave the house at about 6:45 in the morning. I don't get back until like 7 o'clock at night.
Wow.
I did that for 14 months, but I learned every day working with all those classical Popeye and Mighty Mouse animators, technical stuff, animating, drawing, assistant work, all of that, and that's how I learned. And one little factoid: the person that was studying what we were doing, as the reason we were doing Tubby the Tuba, because Dr. Shore, whose family owned the institute, there was Shore Electronics back in the day, and he was a nut on animation. He wanted to figure out how computers could do what we were doing. And Edmund Catmull was one of the people who was studying everything. He was on the other side of the campus. And so Edmund Catmull and all that stuff turned out to be hired out later on by Lucas, and that became Pixar.
Sweet.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So
That's awesome.
there's a lot going on in the tying up in my where I'm part of all this.
That's incredible. When I went to college, I went for computer animation, but the initial part of the school, it was traditional. So we had to do everything by hand, do 2D animation. You had the camera that you had to take, photos of your stuff.
Yeah.
It was such it was a fun process, but it was like a labor in patience. To do the it was difficult. It's something I wasn't really prepared for when you in the difference when you're animating with a computer versus animating with traditionally,
Well, yeah, but you know what? If you don't know what the rules are, all you're doing is letting the computer do it for you. You're not learning a damn thing.
True.
I mean,
Ooh,
Tell him, John.
this brings up something good. What do you think about AI art?
oh, that's shit. That's theft.
I knew it.
That's theft. I mean,
it's awful, right?
I even think motion capture is theft. I mean, that's not doing anything. It's like why, if you're a musician, you understand music theory, or at least you'll be able to play by ear, but you have an intuitive understanding of the knowledge, and you can only go so far with that intuitive knowledge unless you study why you strum that chord, why you pluck that magic twanger, and how you create. So that's a reference to Andy's Kang and Froggy for all those 70-year-olds that are out there. Anyway, but if you don't know the rules, you don't know how to break them. You don't know what you're doing. You're letting it's kind of like Terminator time. The bots are taking over, and you can't do a thing. You don't know how they do it.
Exactly.
True.
Yep.
Good point.
Yeah.
Back to Scott's point, back in the day when you used to use your brain, I think most of us would be okay with that.
Yeah. True. You're absolutely right. It's because when the way they taught in my school was you had the traditional animation going on, and I had to take those classes twice a week. And then I also had computer animation going on at the same time where I'm learning how to use Maya and 3D. But the when you're using the computer, it has those I wouldn't call it cheats, but you could take and tell it start at point A and then move over to point B, and then you're like, say your ball or whatever it is, your bird moves across the screen.
Yeah.
But there's a timing, like you said, to how the bird moves. And then there's some things that I learned in 2D side of things where, like a bouncing ball, for example, before it goes up, there's a compression, and then there's the height, and then when it gets to its height, it kind of stretches, and then it goes back down, and you get that classical style of animation. They didn't teach that in the 3D side of things. So when I brought that over to that side of it, it made the animation look better.
Well, it's a squash and stretch is taken from watching slow motion, anything, baseball bat hitting a ball hitting the ground, a boxer's fist hitting somebody's jaw, the contortion that happens in slow motion. Otherwise, all we're doing is we're very, very plasticky in what you have. It's very mechanical, it's very sterile, but also understanding why something moves. You can time something within 1 second, and there are so many different ways you can time something and have a different effect, all by knowing how to space your drawings and also how to tweak the drawing. It's like playing, if you're playing a chord or playing with anything, any musical instrument, how you finesse the sound with the instrument, with your fingers or with your key or with a pedal, you are now getting a different effect. And you have to be able to do that with each drawing, because a drawing is only really your analysis, the notes. It's your analysis of what you've seen in your imagination, or even what you see coming in front of you. So, and you're making a statement, and so there, if you observe, if you learn how to observe, not what to observe, if you can understand that, then you can become an animator, and it doesn't matter what design you have. It's the forces, the forces that are exerted upon a shape is what creates the movement and the performance. How's that for highfalutin talk?
Nice.
Love it. All right. So where would we leave off? In the 70s? Evan,
we're still in 70. So we were.
So I started in 1975. Okay. And I worked for 14 months on Tubby the Tuba. I then go to Richard Williams, the Raggedy Ann and Andy. They're gathering up a crew in New York, and they get all the young animators, young assistants who have talent, and we become part of this crew, and are working with Disney animators on Raggedy Ann and Andy. That happens for I think I started in April, so it's basically 9 months that I work on that. So I'm learning and developing and still drawing all this time, working 40-hour, 50-hour, 60-hour weeks. I come home and I'm still doing stuff on my own. You can't just do it on the job. You got to crank out drawings. You got to really do that. On Tubby the Tuba, 30 drawings a day was considered, what you needed to do.
Wow.
Sometimes they were partial, sometimes they were full drawings, but you still had to turn out 30 drawings a day, a certain amount of footage. Same thing with on Raggedy Ann and Andy. You had to turn out at least 8 to 12 drawings a day. And if you look at those designs, it was a lot of pencil mileage on that. So
details, yeah.
yeah. And so you were really working hard, and so as long as you were able to justify what you were doing, they would say, okay, we're doing it. So I learned a lot from a different crew of that. Even though they were all New York animators, what had to be turned out was different from what we did on Tubby the Tuba, what was done on Tubby the Tuba. And Raggedy Ann, Richard Williams did some more classes also. He did classes for us, and he would have us, all the young assistants and in-betweeners, learning, timing charts. I had already learned that from working with my on Tubby the Tuba, learning cycles and how to pull something in and out of a cycle and how to make reuse and how to take the same drawings and give different timings and so on and so forth. But doing it at a slower pace and a much more quality oriented production that formed me a bit more, developed me more. So what happened is it's coming down. It's the last. It's like the midweek. Yeah, actually, the midweek in December. I'm working away. We're doing deadlines to finish off Raggedy Ann and Andy. The assistant who had taken over from Richard Williams, Jerry Potterton, who worked on Yellow Submarine, comes out and I think, he's checking out to see how we're doing. Are we going to finish these scenes or what have you? He comes in and he says, does anybody want to animate in Canada? He just flats out asked, and I said, so I expected one of my assistants who was from Montreal, to say, yeah, I'll go there. And he said, I don't want to go to Toronto. And I said, so I'm the only one else there. And I said, okay, I'll go. So I said, okay, what happened? He said, well, a friend of his, Clive Smith, had, was working on a Christmas special, and one of his animators broke his wrist, and they needed somebody to take over for him. So I said, okay, I got a reel. And so they paid for me to go up to Toronto over the weekend. It was the weekend. It was maybe a week or so before. It was between Christmas, right? It was between Christmas and New Year's. I go up there between Christmas and New Year's, and I'm looking at this stuff with Clive Smith and his head animator there, Frank Nissen. They looked at what I did. They said, "Can you do 15 seconds of this, a week?" I said, "Yeah." I showed them what I was doing. I had an animated film that I'd done on my own with soundtrack and everything of a wizard. And he said, "Okay." I said, "Okay, you're hired." So I go to Nelvana within 2 weeks later. It's like, January. Good Lord. It's like January 9th or what have you of 77. Now I'm less than 2 years into it, and I'm working on their first production, which was A Cosmic Christmas, at the table, because I didn't, we're 40 years past that. No one's coming after me.
Yeah, no tax repercussions.
No, there's nothing. No, it's gone. I'm retired. I'm out of country. That's it.
Hey, John, while you were in New York, so during that time, so a lot of you animators, did you guys deal with the comic book artists as well? So like Stan Lee, John Byrne, all those guys?
No, those are two different worlds.
Okay. I don't know if you guys just, meet at a coffee shop or at the bar or whatever.
Oh no, the animators, us young animators, it was a different world from comic book.
Oh, okay.
The comic book. Now here's the thing: is that a lot of the comic books that got me going was the Mighty Mouse, the Popeyes, all of that. I worked with the guys who did that, Marty Terrace, Johnny Gentilella. They did that work back in the 50s and 60s. So I knew what they were. I already, if I was going anything, I was with that. The closest thing is that my connection is with Wayne Boring. Wayne Boring, it was the Superman, the first guy who was hired on by Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel on to do work with them, in Cleveland on the Superman.
Wow.
And he worked there worked on Tubby the Tuba, doing layouts. And so we would talk a little bit, and I showed him what my version as a 10-year-old of what I did of what his style was like. And then we just kibitzed around and whatnot. And, and at the time he was almost 70 at the time. And so, but anyway, and after about 6 weeks, he was gone. He was leaving, and I said, "Oh, you're leaving? I'm sorry." He said, "Well, my job is done here. We're gone." And so, we had a good time. I thanked him and so on and so forth. But then on the last day that he was leaving, he motioned me up to his room, and he said, "Here, come here, Johnny boy, here, come in." And he had a desk, a room for himself. He had a desk, old blotter, an ink blotter.
Yep.
He lifted up, and he pulled out, and it was a pencil sketch on bristle board of Superman, the classic Superman pose. And he says, "Here, Johnny, it's for you." He says, "You're the only person who didn't bug me for a drawing."
Wow.
So it's hanging up over there. Where my finger is, that's where that's
Nice.
there. It's there.
That's
And it's
cool.
I've had that since 1975.
That's awesome, man.
That is so cool. It's a great story.
Yeah.
So it would have been that or Mighty Mouse, right? Like, here I come to save the day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. So anyway, yeah. So just to tell you, those are the people that we were doing, But then again, Marvel back then, I mean, the comic books were kind of, they had lost their appeal. There was a heyday for me. I collected my Popeye. I collected my Spider-Mans and whatnot. I've got a cabinet full of Spider-Man #1s and stuff and the first Thor, the first Iron Man. When the Tales of Suspense. I've got the first Daredevil. I've got all of that stuff. All of that material. The first appearance of Submariner and one of my favorite Fantastic Fours is Fantastic Four number 4, 5. It would be number 6 that where Dr. Doom and Submariner team up together.
Wow.
But
Ralph would be losing his mind right now.
Pardon?
So our other buddy that's usually on here, Ralph, he'd be losing his mind right now. He's more of a comics guy.
Yeah.
What's crazy? Dr. Doom killed him a couple of years ago. It came full circle.
Oh,
in the comics, yeah.
Well, Dr. Doom is is Darth Vader, for crying out loud, or vice versa, really.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing is, so with comic books, my thing is I prefer my old school stuff is once again from the 50s, 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. That's when so much stuff for me was resonated because of the element of Jack Kirby and Joe Simon. It's like the old Fighting America, the Captain America, all of that stuff, the storytelling, and if we want to do a comic book, I prefer condensed storytelling versus versus decompressed. I prefer compressed storytelling versus decompressed storytelling. I want to see the story. I want every page to push the story across without it being, people having a coffee break and talking about what color their underwear is.
So no filler episode is what you're saying.
Yeah, I hear that.
No filler.
Oh, well, the story. Any time of the thing. For example, my wife and I watch Tales of Wells Fargo. That's running, and we're looking at the Grit. Was it the Grit TV? And we're watching the Tales of Wells Fargo, and she really prefers. She really likes the storytelling because those are half-hour episodes, no filler. Bang, 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 beginning, middle, and end, and still have some character in it. But it's like, okay, tell me a story, and don't make me wait until next week and the next movie. And that's what to me, that started creeping in with Stan Lee and the development of the Marvel storytelling, where instead of it just being a concise story, it's got to the point of it's all filler, all air now, and it's like even having I prefer you have a major arc over 13 episodes, but each episode has a completion of some sort.
Yep.
If you do it that way, then you've given people their money's worth, or don't keep them from feeling like they've wasted their time. I don't like that at all.
Now you want to be excited for the next issue or the next part of the story, right?
Yep. I think everybody here on this channel agrees with that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
True.
Okay, so we're gonna. I'm being long-winded, but
no, you're not. You're great.
Fine,
you're
man.
perfect.
Okay, so to get to the meat of the story, we do a Cosmic Christmas. That is, and one of my jobs was I did Mom and Dad and Granny, the parents, whatnot. I took over because they needed somebody to do those characters, the major characters. But then also I had a handle on developing how the three wise aliens from outer space become, how they move. And we figured out how to do that using cross dissolves and whatnot to give it another worldly way of movement. And that is what Lucas saw of the Nelvana, Cosmic Christmas, and he saw that part of it, the aliens. And suddenly nobody was doing aliens. He was doing aliens. And it was a studio that was outside of Hollywood that was doing something that was different, and it had a European feel to it.
Exactly what
Canada, Toronto. Pardon?
That's what George was after at the time too, is getting away from Hollywood.
Yes, and so that's how, seeing all that, we got the deal, through Michael Hirsch, who had a connection with one of the people who were looking for studios, and he saw that, and they said, okay, instead of someplace else, it was a young studio. This was Nelvana's first production. It was for the CBC. The studio has signed a deal with Viacom to be their sort of animation arm a bit. So we did holiday specials. So we were going on to do I stayed in I went from Nelvana to California and worked at DePatie Freeling for Friz Freeling, and working on Mr. Magoo's and Baggy Pants, and working with the Warner Brothers people, the old Warner Brothers cartoonists. So I learned more from how to do with that. And then Michael Hirsch tracked me down and said, I want you to come back to Nelvana because we're going to do this feature film, Rock and Rule. But it was called Drats. We're going to do a feature film. And there was no Canadians with feature film experience. And I had 2 features under my belt. I'd worked with them, on Cosmic Christmas. So he wanted me. So we went through the whole getting the work visa and everything. But at the same time, he was getting the deal with Lucas to do the holiday work, to do the film, the animated section. It was only called the animated segment. There was no, the story of the faithful Wookiee. That came decades later, that title. So anyway, so that's how we get it. So we're working on the Devil and Daniel Mouse at Nelvana. And then so right after that, we're finished, and I think it's like June of 78, and that's when I'm working on Boba Fett. So in 3 years, I go from being an in-betweener, breaking into the business. I'm doing Boba Fett.
Wow,
Nice,
man.
That's a good climb.
That's awesome.
So that's what you see. That was the very best I could do with what I had with myself. So that's what a very young. I'm 28 years old at the time.
Wow.
Some of those shots were pretty incredible. Like there's the scene where Boba Fett's climbing up and Chewbacca's behind him.
Yeah.
The foreshortening that you have there, where he's pulling himself up, that was really well done. It's the animation of it is great. I love the whole thing. It was awesome. When you got to do Boba Fett, were you given the like a character sheet or something of how the character looked?
Well, as what happened is that we had the instructions we got from Lucas. That is from Frank Nissen. That's Frank Nissen's version of what he saw on the videotape of the Super Stormtrooper.
Okay.
It was Boba Fett, and you've all seen the white uniform, with everything. It was a black and white, videotape.
Okay.
Video of him walking around and showing, the helmet and whatnot. He had that. The referencing was that, plus also the schematics of how the costume was put together. So you had that. And then the instructions were, make it look, in the style of Mobius from a Heavy Metal magazine, 1977. Yeah. I mean, what more to, So that's, and the colors, the styling, the line work, all of that. That's what we had. So Frank gave me, he drew in a very flat 2D styling, whereas I took it and then started molding it around so that it would feel a bit more fully animated. Otherwise, you wouldn't do that. There's a lot that's left on that model sheet that's not very specific. And so therefore I started playing around with it. And because I was the person in charge of that character, that's what I did. I started molding the drawing and moving things around and really working it. You could see that there are, in the book, and a little product placement there. The book has got the original model sheet. It's got the script, the script of the holiday, the cartoon. You will see that Boba Fett. There you go. There's some of my stuff there, what I'm developing there. Those are roughs, and you will note that Boba Fett in the holiday special, and that script is spelled F-E-T.
Right.
It's not double T.
Huh.
Yep. That's one of the things I noticed when I first got your book. It's spelled F-E-T.
Yep. It's just F-E-T. Boba Fett.
Huh.
So, when I started and then starting to talk about that, with Jojo, it says, okay, they changed it. A lot of aliens changed their name.
That's funny.
So did you come up with the rifle?
Well, it was sort of a combination, because what I did was, it said you had a rifle, and there was just like a something, there. So I just, it was a tuning fork. So I said, okay, that's a tuning fork. Right. Well, first of all, if you look at the script, it says it pulls out a tuning fork. Look at the script, and it says right. It says in the script, Boba Fett, he pulls out a tuning fork and sort of plunks at the sea serpent, and the sea serpent runs away.
So you actually came up with a design for the rifle itself, then?
Well, it was a combination. I mean, all I did was I said, okay, it's a rifle. I mean, one person said, okay, well, we'll use it with a rifle, whatnot. All of that business of him whacking that's all me, because in the script it says that Boba Fett turns around and whacks the serpent on the nose. There was no way to do that. At that time we didn't even know how tall the thing was. We didn't know how it was going. There was a lot of liberties given us to stage the script. You read the script and you watch the cartoon, and you will see there's a lot of differences in one place and another, from the script to the cartoon. So there's no thing about he says he hits him, so okay, I whack him, I nudge him, he said he'd nudge him. I nudge him with a riding crop,
Right.
But they're not saying anything about tossing the rifle from one hand to another, or how he sits like a Bedouin. Nothing like that at all. So as an actor, I'm thinking, how do I make this character work? So the referencing that I did was, I did. Just to answer that question, sounds like you had to make it up as you went. Yeah, and sometimes that's the very best way to do it, because then you have spontaneity, and you have I talk it over with the director, with Clive. Made sure that everything was, okay, it's all within the parameters. Okay, we'll do this and we'll do this. There was not a lot of, well, let's go and see how the committee works. We were crunching this thing. We were going as fast as possible to get this out. I never saw a pencil test of any of this. The only time I saw it was when it screened, when it was broadcast.
So you have pretty good artistic freedom.
Yeah. So but but the timing, what I'm saying is pencil testing and whatnot, I had no idea. I had no layout. I had layouts. I did all the timing charts. I did the in-between, had a couple of in-betweeners working for me. And we would just do it, we'd flip it. And that's the thing. I learned from Popeye animators how to flip to almost to tempo. If you could get 1001, if you could flip 12 drawings or 24 drawings, during that time, then you had a really good idea of what the timing was going to be and how it would look. It's a flip book.
Right.
So that's how you've got to be able to, classically learning how to do it without using machines to run it back and forth and say, I'm going to add something. I'm going to add. You have to commit. If you screw it up, you screw it up. But if you commit to a certain amount of tempo and timing, like for example, you listen to the tempo of the actor, the person, giving you their rhythms. You can pick up the rhythm of the character, and then you can add that to your animation.
Did you have the audio for
Yes.
both?
Oh, yes.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. What I did, again, if Eben would take up my handsome assistant here.
Sure, John.
Okay, yes. All right. Now, if you
Which
will
alphabet?
what I would look at is, there's a headshot. I think it's the last page in the book. There's the headshots with yes. Phil, turn it so the camera can see the
Other way.
the other way around. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
I timed that scene, the dialogue. Those are my timing charts, and those are my key poses with the various timing charts of the drawings that would go in between it. There would be slow in, slow out. There would be maybe acceleration, deacceleration. All of that was listening to the rhythm of the actor, who was Don Franks, who did the voice. And so that's how I knew when to tilt the head, when to raise the head, so that the visor would act like an eyebrow.
Nice.
And that's timing. That's like writing music.
Okay. Yeah, and you're giving expression with something that doesn't show expression.
Right. But the exposure, what I'm talking about is the timing charts. That's like showing you what you're going. Or if you're going like I might have a pose from here to here, but in the middle I'm going to slow in. I'm going to go versus going that way or going like that.
That's so awesome. You have that kind of detail in this book.
Yeah, I wanted this to be sort of. Those are my notes, and I wanted to be as detailed a combination. It's more of a historical thing than anything else, to show this is what happened, and these are all the elements and ingredients that helped go into what made Boba Fett on the animated, the holiday special. And because Boba is so liked, you might as well know what went into making him. Now I know it went on after that, but for so many years, the only thing you saw of Boba Fett was, what was it? The time in the screen time for the cartoon, and a little bit in live action, but there wasn't very much. There was more animation time, screen time, than there is in the live action, and he doesn't do much in the
Right.
the feature film. And so after that is when you start getting the comic books with Boba Fett. But I don't know when that really kicks into play. That's in the 80s sometime, right?
Honestly, this version of Boba Fett, especially with the rifle and the color choices on the armor, kind of reminds me more of like the Mandalorian now, right? I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, where they headed. I mean, I think they probably. So have you watched You've watched Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, I've seen some of it. Yeah.
So have you seen his rifle? So how was that for you, seeing that in
Well,
live
that's
action?
so cool. I mean, it's the idea that says, okay, that means we're canon.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, for decades, they would say, oh, I'm sorry, the holiday special, the cartoon is not canon. What are you talking about? It comes out before The Empire Strikes Back. How can it not be canon? But you know what? There's some people will not.
Doesn't that look like Mando?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, that drawing is 1978.
Yep. You probably created the concept for it without even knowing it.
Right. They should give you credit.
Where's my money? Where's my royalties?
Pay me, Favreau.
Pay the man.
Well, it's interesting watching. I've seen some bits and pieces of the Mandalorian doing his head tilt. To the hell tilt. Well, you know what?
I mean, I've been rewatching it, and I mean, there was a lot that you gave to Boba Fett about his demeanor, how he carried himself, that he was a badass.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought that out in it, that he is a badass.
Yeah. All of that, I mean, standing there, you might have heard this from some other interviews I did, but basically I said, okay, the body language and the attitude it's a combination. He's a bounty hunter, but he's a gunfighter. So therefore, my first thought is Jack Palance and Shane. And there is that aspect of with the gloves. That's where one of the first things, Palance wore leather gloves. Mm-hmm. And he didn't take them off to shoot anybody. He pulled them out and used that. So he used that as a handle, working with that. And then there was also, Clint Eastwood, the man with no name. Mm-hmm. So those are the two. Those are the two people characters that I said, okay, we'll use that, because then those were the references. I mean, Shane is maybe about 20 years old, or 22, 25 years old, the movie, by the time, the holiday special comes along, and Clint Eastwood had done his spaghetti westerns 10 years earlier. So it's all there. So, and again, those are my references for Boba.
Well, this came out, so I saw it when it released. I was living in Washington, and it was 11 days before my 6th birthday. Okay. And I still remember it. That's what got me going.
Well, you know what? How old are you again?
52 now.
No. How about back then? 6?
Oh, 6. Yeah, I was 6 years old.
How did you not fall asleep during the first half of a holiday?
So back then, man, every time the trailer came on for Star Wars, I was running down the stairs to get in front of the TV and watch it. Yeah. And then, I was what, 4.5 then, and I remember it. Okay. And so when you watch it on TV, at that age, I'm not looking at magazines or whatever, so I don't see all the articles. So anything that was Star Wars, I was soaking it up. So even though it was what it was, my memory of it as a kid, I loved it.
Okay.
Because it's them on screen. I'm getting to watch it again.
Okay. Yeah.
So for me, I loved it.
Yeah.
That's why you have the red robe.
Yeah. But being older, I remember telling my wife, I'm like, we got to watch the holiday special. And then she found it for me. She found it online. She bought the tape before you could get it now. And then we started watching. She goes, are you really going to make me watch all of this? I said, well, you got to at least watch the cartoon. The cartoon's awesome.
Yeah, that's the best part.
That's the best part.
That's why I did not know that people liked it until maybe about 2006.
Wow.
Really?
No,
yeah, because everything, all that I heard was that it's not canon.
Okay.
And and so that's all I ever heard about that. And it's just kind of like they said, a person I was working with says, I was kind of just screwing around and looking and showing some drawings I did, or that I did the Boba. They said, okay, what did you do? I said, well, I did so and so, and I did this here, and I did I don't know if you ever heard of the holiday special. Anyway, you did, and then I said Boba Fett. You did Boba Fett? Right? Well, yeah.
I mean, between and Jeremy Bullock's performance, man, you guys made him a legend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it is what it is, So the element is that I at that time all I knew is that we did the best we could, and we kept and then I started hearing oh, well, this is the best part of it, and so on and so forth. And I thought it was the best part of it, obviously. But tell you why. I mean, did you say that your wife didn't want to watch the holiday special or something?
Yeah, we started watching. She's like, "Yeah, I'm not watching all this."
Okay. Well, I showed my wife had never seen the entire, not the holiday special, but the cartoon. She'd seen snippets of it. And a couple of months ago, before we went to Atlanta, just before, I said, "Well, this is what's happening, and this is why, that people like it." And so I pulled it up on YouTube, and we had it we put it on our living room TV set. It had a nice 19-year-old 40-inch screen. I got old. I'm still old school with that. Anyway, so we got that, and I turned it on and showed it, and and as soon as Boba Fett comes on, she says, "I understand now. He's sexy."
Ah, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's freaking cool.
That's great.
So there you are. That is the connection, of what the holiday special, and how that is basically the third production that Nelvana did. It was the third. Well, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3. The fourth real production that I worked on as an animator. I worked on Raggedy Ann and Tubby the Tuba as an in-betweener and assistant animator. Worked on at Nelvana and Cosmic Christmas. Worked at the Patty Freeling on their TV shows. The TV, Saturday morning shows, and then it was,
Mr. Magoo,
Mouse, and then this.
You did Mr. Magoo as well, right?
Yeah, I worked on Mr. Magoo's there at the Patty Freeling, Baggy Pants, the Nitwits. The Nitwits was Art Johnson, and Ruth Buzzy. The Tyrone F. Horneye and Gladys Ormfee. Again, you're only about 6 years old when this is all going on.
How old were you, Evan?
I was a baby.
Yeah, I wasn't even born yet.
But I remember seeing a lot of this in the replays, when they used to do because they always replayed this stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that it's like, even just growing up, that, and as a teenager and early, 20s and stuff like that, that people, the holiday special for what it is, but I don't remember ever anybody saying anything bad about the cartoon.
Well, you got to remember, I was not. When you're in the industry, you're not in the fan base,
right?
Okay, this is what I'm doing,
Right.
and so it's kind of like, okay, and so remember, I'll be 75 this year, so there's a whole difference in just age group and what was going on. I was too busy trying to figure out how to animate Dragon's Lair. Dragon and Space Ace, and
How did
on the next show or what have you. When I'm not doing stuff. For me, the fanning is more like the original Captain Marvel. The Captain Marvel Fawcett. Comic books. I go on for that. I'm looking at pre-1965 Jack Kirby.
Nice, yeah.
Okay,
There's a
different thing. To me, I'm more raw material. I prefer raw, old school, underground comics.
Yeah.
That's the way I draw now. For my comic book stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of stuff that is more in what I'm looking for. And I want more of that kind of material.
My love of this animation was also what helped me, with why I liked Heavy Metal, the movie, and Wizards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, then again, Wizards Bakshi, guy from the Bronx, Brooklyn.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a lot of that. A lot of that stuff is California. Is all the old. He would use the old animators from New York. A lot of New York animators worked on Nine Lives and of the Fritz the Cat and all of his stuff.
Fritz the Cat. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's there's a certain kind of energy being able to tell a story with your, with telling physical stories, telling funny stuff, having the body do the acting, other than just instead of dialogue.
There you go, John.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Hey, John, you brought up Dragon's Lair. How was animating for that different than doing the the TV shows that you've done and
well, it was kind of like I worked on it was very similar in terms of quality to what they worked on Rock and Rule. I don't know if you've seen Rock and Rule.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. And so for Rock and Rule, I did the police chief. I did the Mylar, the club owner, and then also I did the gal on roller skates, Cindy Schlepper, the big buxom gal who do all the disco work and whatnot. Those are my three characters that I did all the work for.
Yeah,
share the screen real quick so folks can see what we're talking about.
Yeah. I was just glancing at the IMDb. Also, I may have to check that out. I haven't seen Rock and Roll yet.
Yeah, if y'all haven't seen that, you need to watch it.
Yeah. Well, look at that's our soundtrack. All of that material, the Cheap Trick, Earth, Wind and Fire, Debbie Harry, Lou Reed, Iggy Pop. Those were all original songs that they did.
When I was a kid, we used to live next door to Cheap Trick.
Okay.
No way, dude.
Go. Well, that's
my mom's got pictures of us.
Well, then you'll really appreciate. Well, you appreciate it then because it's Dizzy and Stretch and Omar. I mean, those are the guys with they're basically those characters.
Yeah.
Because it was about rock stars kidnapping someone, right?
No, it's about Mock or the Lou Reed character kidnapping Angel.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
He wants her voice to bring up a beast.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. I need to rewatch that.
Yeah, no, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you've worked on so much of my childhood. That's what's great. It's like a lot of the nerd stuff that I love is just you've been involved in some way, shape, or form.
Well,
I'm
sorry. Let me just say that it's back then the industry was very small, and so everybody worked with everybody. I mean, when I started, there was maybe 350 people in the entire union in New York City, and maybe another 800 in California.
That's
and that
crazy
was
considering the population.
And everybody knew each other because they had all worked together for 30 or 40 years. I mean, when I broke in, there hadn't been any new people for 20 years.
Wow.
So we were the first generation. Mine was the first generation of new animators, and there were still only a handful of us who could do the work because there weren't that many schools, and we all were self-taught. You had Disney, but Disney was still just really the Chenard. They were just doing a whole. They were just retraining to take over for the old people. So Tim Curry. No, not Tim Curry. What's his name? Tim. Batman.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Yes, he was a Disney animator. One of the new young animators. He was of the generation that was coming up. With John Pomeroy and with all the new with Bluethies and all that. So there was a whole number of elements of there, but we're all, they all knew each other. They're all, like big. It was high school stuff, rock and in Nelvana. It was all rock and roll working at Nelvana. Everybody was a rocker of some sort. So, that's a different. That's another thing that Lucas could pick up on, is that we weren't 55 years old in Hollywood, and that's who we had to work with in '77. So it's a different aesthetic and different energy. So.
Okay.
All right.
So John, there's a lot of females in the chat, and I know you worked on Care Bears and She-Ra and all these other properties.
You got to be female to like Care Bears, all right?
Well, I was going to say, show them your tattoo. Show them your tattoo.
You got a tattoo of She-Ra?
No, Care Bear.
Care Bears?
Yeah, I can't show it on this. We'll get shut down.
Oh, okay, there you go. Did you work on Master of the Universe comics? And I didn't do any work. I didn't work on any of the comics work. I worked at Filmation for 3.5 years.
Who did you animate on Masters of the Universe, or did?
Well, you did everything. You did He-Man and She-Ra and the characters. A lot of you picked it up. I mean, because basically you did a lot of different things. But I worked on a lot of the. Besides that, I worked on. There was a feature unit, and which we're trying to do. A very a cheap, inexpensive feature films. Because nobody made any money off of animated films. They said. This is pre Basil. This is pre Roger Rabbit. This is pre what is it? Little Mermaid. All this stuff. All the money people said, yeah, and Disney was thinking seriously of shutting down the animation unit. So. At that time, there wasn't a lot of cool things. It was hard to find stuff to work on. I wound up doing a bunch of Batman commercials for Canada. If you look on YouTube, you'll find my Batman commercials with the Joker, with the Penguin, with Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, and Joker, Penguin, and the Riddler.
Okay,
nice.
I did find your How to Draw Batman video. I checked that.
Oh, well, no, yeah, that's yeah. I did that just to do it.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, look up the video. Look at Batman Zellers.
Okay. My daughter's
Batman Sellers. There are 4 of them in various versions, various different bits and pieces. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love traditional animation. There's something about the feel of something that's hand drawn like that versus something that's done with a computer.
And I mean, it looked like the old '70s comics too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were looking for that. That's well. Once again, we did that in 1988, before the Batman movie.
Oh, before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was. Yeah. It was 87, 88 that we did them. So
we actually have a big Batman fan in the chat right now, Janine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Batman too.
That commercial, that looked awesome.
That looks great, man.
Out of the comics.
I still have all the drawings. Those drawings, I did them on 8.5 by 11 paper. Okay, and animated them cross-aired. Punched I had an animation punch, which I still have, and I use it. And basically, I faxed each drawing over landline.
Wow.
Yeah,
one by one.
Across the border to get it be done, So they'd get my drawings on thermal paper in Toronto, and they repegged everything, and using my cross hatchings to re-register everything, and then clean them up on good paper, and that's how we did. I did four animated commercials that way, with reuse and what have you. And that's another one I never saw any pencil tests on.
Oh wow!
So
it looked really good.
That's but those commercials again. They're in 1980. They're getting, oh good Lord, we're getting close to 40 years ago.
Time flies.
Time flies, man. You start getting to a certain age, it just goes by.
Yeah, I know. It's too much. It's too much.
So John, when you worked on He-Man, did you do the whole like TV series or just a couple of seasons or episodes?
No. There were 450 people in the studio. There were about 100 animators working on that. Wow. It was we had to turn out. We had 5 shows a week for 13 weeks. There was 65 half-hours episodes. So we're cranking this stuff out at the rate of about almost a minute a week per animator to be able to do this. So
wow.
they had 5 they had a lot of lead time, to be able to do this. So to do the 65 half hours, you couldn't spend much time. So you had stock footage that you could reuse, and that was already drawn, and it was all the mouths were all done, the lip sync was all done, the action was all done. Then there were scenes, so you had stuff that was already done, and all you needed to do was expose the drawings according to what you needed for the action. So you had something. So
when He-Man's running, I remember those
there was a lot. Well, a lot of that was easy. Yeah, that was easy. Then you had stuff that was the lip sync material, head turns and whatnot, and going up and down. And then you had stuff that you had to do from scratch. So you had a mix of things. The same way with the Patty Freeling, with the animation for Baggy Pants and Nitwits and Mr. Magoo's. So you didn't have any reuse there. You did everything from scratch, but you had a lot of simple scenes, hard scenes, and just GIFs.
That's
and that
amazing.
way, so that was easy. It learned how to not burn you out. That's another thing, is that the guys, they realized we have to make sure that our people can keep this pace going. It's not just it's not throwing a pitcher throwing 100 miles an hour every damn pitch. You burn out,
right?
So, and that's the thing, that when for all you out there who want to make your own film, and also if you want to do your own comic book, pace yourself. Know what's a money shot and when to make it easy. It's called pacing.
Good advice.
Do most of the hard work thinking it out. So you don't have to redo anything.
True. So you also worked on X-Men Evolution.
Yeah.
That's moving way up now. Now we're in the 2000s. What are at this point when you're drawing for there? Is it still hand drawn, or are you working with a computer at this point?
Well, what I'm doing at that time, I'm taking from X-Men. I'm doing timing sheets.
Okay.
Which is we have the storyboards, but now I'm taking that and saying, okay, I've got so much time, to work within the scene. We got a director who has cut the sheets for me. Okay. and I know what my scene lengths are. So I'm looking at it as a directing animator would. The director has cut the sheet to what looks good on the Leica reel. It's like, okay, we're going to cut here, we're going to cut here on this frame and this time, and so on and so forth. So then what I do is then I take the drawing, the storyboards, and then I start drawing on the exposure sheet where the acting, where the poses are. And then I'm timing it and saying, okay, turn, they're going to have so much time to run through here. You got to drop down, pull out. I'm basically posing in thumbnail and giving the timing for each one.
Okay.
And a lot of times if you've got multiple characters, you got to figure out, well, how do I not make it all look the same? So if you got 2 or 3 characters, you got to know when to hold the body, when to hold the character, and then when to start going into anticipating that person's reaction. So there's a lot going on there. If you have never animated before, if you don't know, again, without knowing a computer, I'm giving the editor telling them how many frames to shoot each storyboard panel. I'm working that way. I'm doing pre pencil test.
Okay. Neat.
So that's what I was doing on X-Men.
Okay.
So what are you working on now?
Right. That was my next question. Thank you, Frankie.
Oh, sorry, man.
No, good job.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're that's fine. I'll take whatever answer or question you want. Okay, what I'm working now is on my own web comic.
Okay.
So it's basically it's an angel.
Okay.
And it's an angel that is the youngest angel, and it's very much. Let's see. There you go. You see, notice it's naughty bits. It's censored time. Go up to the first. If you go, okay. If you would go up to the opening. Keep your scrolling up to the home
Button.
Okay. Then you can scroll up and you'll start seeing some of there's Bloodwing Angel, Fire Fist Angel, and it's basically it's about, okay, just I'll read it out to you. What is Bloodwing Fire Fist Angel all about? Michael, an innocent angel, is a pawn in a cosmic chess match between the gods of light and darkness, unjustly banished to the mortal realm. Michael learns the new morality and struggles to survive among demons and living dead while becoming the guardian angel to a neighborhood filled with killers and sinners.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Speaking my language.
Yeah. And it's basically Michael. I mean, when Michael is tossed out of heaven, is become as the pawn, that promise of safety is that in doing that, as Michael flings through the universe is ripped apart and then temporarily and then stitched back together in a whole new alternate universe. It's no longer what it was before. And that means what is good, what is evil, because an innocent angel has been screwed by the gods. And so therefore you got to figure out your own sense of morality. What is it that you hold to be true? And so therefore, it lands on Earth, but it's no longer Earth as we know it. The universe is not as you know it. Michael is then turned into a semi-human because basically it is an angel. When you see Michael as a young innocent angel in ethereal form, it's like the angel as described in the Old Testament, which is a fierce beast. 6 one eye or maybe a couple of eyes, 6 wings and no real body to hold on to. It's just a head. And so it's flinked, and when it lands, and it's basically it just turns into a semi-human, but in both male and female. So it's both male and female. So now have a character that is the protagonist, has to navigate both genders.
Okay.
And therefore there's all kinds of storylines and adventures to have. Michael has limited powers. It still has wings, and it has maybe instead of a flaming arm, a sword has basically a finger, a flaming finger. And that's about it. It's a dagger versus a sword.
Let me share this so we can see what he's talking about.
The flaming finger.
There you go. Okay, there's that. You close up that way. You can see the finger there. That's that little finger that.
Okay, I see it now.
And the thing about it is that Michael can't, won't stay as, again. I have the Naughty Bits banner just so that you can see, the pieces. Don't get too crazy, but you can see the cartooniness. The animation is all there. I'm doing the same kind of material. I'm using a lot of expressiveness in the action. There's a lot of squash and stretch, but there's humor. But there's also the reality of what's going on with the morality of the characters. And so I try to make it fun. It is very old school. When you scroll up, you can see these are some of the characters from the neighborhood. That's from the 1717 Club.
Right.
And these are the guys who they're gangsters, but they're also demons. The 1717 Club, I take that from my neighborhood. I grew up in Bensonhurst, and my folks owned a Catholic religious gift shop on 86th Street. Across the street from us was the 1717 Club, where the mafia was. The boys, your Tony Sopranos, your Joey Chestnuts. They would have their club, and that was the 1717 Club as an actual club, and they would bring their girlfriends on Friday night. They were all dressed up, on Friday nights, and go in, and they had a bar and a band. They would have all kinds of stuff going on, and then on Saturday night they bring their wives.
That's funny because my grandpa, he ran a gambling house for the mob, and the front was a comic shop.
Okay.
So I didn't know anything about it, and so we used to go. It was in New York.
Okay.
Nice on you, Frankie. You got the SWAT team coming up. Boom.
He said, I told him that one of my favorite memories of my grandpa is to hang out at the comic book shop. And he started laughing. He goes, "Did you never realize in 3 years those were the same comic books hanging on the wall?"
Yeah, guys walking around. Hey,
and nobody wanted to buy them, right?
Right.
Hey, Miss Ortiz.
Wasn't it the same thing about the Charlton comics?
Was that a front too?
I don't know.
Well, they did all the racing forms out of Connecticut, so that to keep the presses wet, they ran comic books.
Nice.
So anyway, so as you can see, this is my store for Boba Fett and for all the other material. It's everything that I'm doing. It's whether they be Boba Fett sketches, the comic book, my book, or
I have this one. Do you know why I bought this one? Because it kind of reminds me of Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love it. And the cool thing about John, he signs them the date he ships them out.
Awesome.
Yep. So it has a timestamp and everything.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
So
that is really cool. Of everything, all your experiences in animation and with art, what was your favorite one? The one that you loved the most?
In terms of animation,
Our favorite project, I guess.
Well, yeah, my favorite project, that I would have to say it would be the holiday special, because I knew what I was doing. You know, I felt that what I was doing was something different,
Okay.
and it was the first time that I got a chance to do the villain, because I was always doing the either ordinary characters or whatnot. So I said, okay, but you know what? Doing Boba Fett was scary because I only had so much time under my belt. So it was doing a high wire act, So you never, the first time you do it and you succeed, you don't fall down on your face and people say, oh, you're a real fake,
Yeah.
you do that. But the second one, it would be doing Cindy Schlepper in the holiday special. Rather doing on Rock and Rule.
Okay.
Because no one bugged me. Nobody bugged me because they didn't know what to do with her. They didn't know what to do with that gal. So and so they said, okay, you do it. You go do whatever you can do with her. They gave me the soundtrack. I had the voice and whatnot, and so I worked with with the storyboard people and the layout. Say, okay, I want this to do. Let's do this. And so nobody bugged. I remember looking at the first time I did the first couple of scenes, and he just the Clive said, "There's no way I could have been able to direct you this way." And no, because I came from a different point of view, and that's what you're hoping as an animator, that you would be treated as an actor. If you've been cast to do something, let you do it. Let the director should let you do it until you have screwed up. But a good director will allow you to stretch and allow you to do things. I stretched with her. There was a lot of there's a lot of things that I experimented with and played with and did, and that was to me that. And then but the other one, okay, you asked me what is my best friend. There are a bunch of them, but I would say Easter Fever. Easter Fever is a cool one because that's the first directed before I went on to Rock and Rule. Easter Fever, I was doing we had Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live doing the voice of Jack the Easter Rabbit, who was retiring. And I did my section, I wound up doing a parody of West Side Story with Bratz and Jack.
Sounds like fun.
So that was fun. I directed that, but I did a lot of the animation on that. So that was fun. And the Batman commercials.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've had such an awesome career.
And John, biggest thing is you brought a lot of joy to a lot of kids.
Yeah,
and even adults, man, really, because that's coming home from school to watch those cartoons and stuff like. I mean, that's just
absolutely
happy times in childhood.
Well, I'm glad that stuff that I did many years ago affected people, because you never know. Right. You really want to. You kind of want to do that. I don't expect, and I'm glad that people even today who get a chance to see all the old material. I hopefully that they get a chance to see it, and it does have an effect on them too, a positive effect. So
I mean, I think it did. It's the messages that those cartoons had and stuff like that. I mean, it's just all around making it a better world, and
it was all positive. Yeah,
it was so positive and just. It was like, man, I can't wait to get home from school so you can sit there and go see some of these cartoons, and then Saturday coming around, and it's like, it was just, I mean, it was good times, really good times.
Yeah,
they were.
Those are events, that's those are cool things. I mean, for me, it was watching the Mickey Mouse Club. It was watching, it was watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon I'd never seen before. Watching Popeye.
Yep.
That's to me that was what that was.
I've even got my grandkids now watching some of the older stuff because I tried to sit down and to watch stuff that they what they're used to watching or whatever with their friends from school. But you watch some of these cartoons now, it's just a bunch of yelling and screaming. There's there's
they're
nothing
awful.
to it. They're horrible, and then like how they treat their parents and stuff like that. And it's just like, what is this? So I started getting them to watch like Looney Tunes and old He-Man cartoons and stuff, and like they're really interested and invested in it now that they watch it.
I think there's there's a MeTV show, a channel that's coming on in a couple of weeks. Check it out. It's the MeTV Tune, and I think it's running all the old uncut cartoons from Warner Brothers and Hanna-Barbera and Popeyes and whatnot. So check to see if you might get that. Okay. And if you haven't already, show them the Fleischer Superman cartoons.
Ooh, BTV has like all the classics. Yeah. Rockin' Bullwinkle, Casper, Popeye, Smurfs, Tom and Jerry.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Woody Woodpecker.
One thing I got them cracking up now is Laugh Olympics. I've had
Laugh Olympics.
That.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get my kids to watch they like the old Looney Tunes. They're good with that. Yeah. Some of the Disney afternoon, like DuckTales, they're pretty good with that. Mm-hmm. X-Men, not so much. My nephews though love X-Men. They come over and I put that on and they sit down through the whole thing. So
yeah, but it's a different thing. You're talking the difference between a lot of dialogue and a lot of pretty much the same kind of blow-ups and whatnot versus eccentric acting going on and action going on with the old Warner Brothers cartoons.
Yeah, true.
Those are very different things.
Like I love Bugs Bunny still. I still watch it. When I work from home, I have it playing in the background because of all the orchestra music.
The music.
Yeah,
for sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean the kids want to watch something violent. I'm like, let me introduce you to Yosemite Sam.
Yeah,
that guy was nuts.
Well, Yosemite Sam was basically Friz Freleng. He was the director of that, and he was a small guy. He was about 5 feet tall, and he had a temper on him.
That's great.
I figured as much.
Darn tootin'.
Awesome.
Was he the same guy in charge of the Jetsons as well?
No, that's Hanna-Barbera.
That's Hanna-Barbera. Oh, okay, that's right.
And they did the Tom and Jerry's, the most violent cartoons of all time.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
All right. Cool. Evan, you already put in the chat all of the links to get to John's website and whatnot.
Yeah. Yep. We've been putting it down there all night. Me and Frankie.
Okay.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
John, thank you for coming on the show. It was awesome hearing your story and
swag people.
Thank you for answering my message.
Go get yourself one of these images and the book too.
Get the book. At least get the book.
Yeah, the book is worth it.
A lot of content in here. You got the scripts in here, like the sketches. Not trying to sell it, but it's actually fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's cool.
I love it. I read the script all the time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody in the chat, I hope you guys have a great night. Until next time, may the force be with you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.